won't touch you. Her eyes widened. What? He smiled slightly. I don't force women. If this isn't what you want, I won't do it. Ada blinked, unable to believe it. She had prepared herself for the worst, but this was unexpected. Instead, he continued, how about this? Be my girlfriend. You will live with me, have everything you want, and you won't have to do this job. Ada stared at him. Was this her escape? A way to survive without selling herself? She didn't think twice. Oh, okay, thank you. A satisfied smile spread across his face. Good choice. As Ada followed him out of the hotel, she felt relieved. Maybe, just maybe, she had found a way out of this life before it even began. But little did she know, she had just walked into another trap. Richard's black Range Rover was parked outside. He opened the door for her, and she hesitated for a moment before sliding into the plush leather seat. Relax, he said, smiling as he got into the driver's seat. You made the right choice. Ada forced a small smile, even though her heart was uneasy. The drive was silent, the bright lights of Lagos flashing past her window. She didn't even know where they were going, but she didn't dare ask. After about 30 minutes, Richard pulled into a high-rise building in Victoria Island. We are here, he announced as the car rolled to a stop. Ada's eyes widened as she stepped out. The building was massive, with a grand entrance guarded by uniformed security. Expensive cars lined the parking lot. This was wealth on another level. He took her hand and led her inside. The lobby alone looked like something out of a movie. They entered an elevator, and Richard pressed the button for the 10th floor. Where are we? Ada finally asked. My place, Richard replied simply. The elevator door slid open, revealing a luxurious penthouse apartment. The living room was massive, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A large L-shaped couch sat in the middle, facing an enormous TV. The air smelled of expensive cologne and fresh flowers. This is your house? Ada asked in awe. Richard chuckled. It's our house now. Ada felt a lump in her throat. This was everything she had dreamed of. Luxury, comfort, security. But why did it feel so wrong? Richard walked over to the bar and poured himself a drink. Make yourself at home, baby. This is where you belong now. Belong? Ada swallowed hard. She had escaped one nightmare, but had she just walked into another? The next few days felt like a dream. Richard spoiled Ada with shopping sprees, expensive jewelry, and lavish dinners. He took her to exclusive parties where wealthy men and beautiful women mingled, sipping champagne and laughing like they had no worries. For the first time in her life, she had everything she had ever wanted: money, comfort, and a life of luxury. She posted pictures on Instagram showing off her new lifestyle. Within days, her followers grew, and people from her village messaged her, asking how she made it big. It felt good to be admired, but deep inside, Ada felt like an outsider in her own life. Something wasn't right. One evening, after returning from a high-end restaurant, Ada tried to step out of a car. Richard grabbed her wrist. Where are you going? Inside, she said, confused. You didn't say thank you. Ada frowned. Thank you for what? For dinner, for this life I'm giving you, Richard said, his voice calm but laced with something dark. Ada felt her stomach twist. Oh, thank you, she muttered. Richard smiled and let go of her wrist. Good girl, I like my woman to be appreciative. That night, Ada barely slept. The way he looked at her, the way he spoke, something was off, but she brushed it aside. Maybe she was overthinking. As the weeks passed, Richard's true nature slowly began to reveal itself. He dictated what she wore, where she went, and who she spoke to. At first, Ada thought it was just his way of caring. Until one night, Richard came home late, smelling of alcohol. Ada had waited up for him, but she was exhausted and had fallen asleep on the couch. When she woke up to his presence, she yawned and stretched. "You are back." Richard's face darkened. "You didn't wait up for me properly." Ada blinked, confused. I tried, but I was really tired." She felt a heavy slap on her face. The impact of his hand sent her head snapping to the side. Ada's ears rang. Her cheek burned. Richard leaned close. "When I come home, you greet me properly. Understood?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. Richard smiled and kissed her forehead like nothing had happened. "That's my girl." That night, Ada cried herself to sleep. She had traded one hell for another. Ada endured it for weeks. Richard would spoil her with gifts one moment and hit her the next. If she tried to argue, he would lock her in the penthouse for days. She had everything: money, designer clothes, and luxury lifestyle. But she had lost herself. One evening, after Richard had gone out, Ada made her decision. She packed a small bag, took the cash she had secretly been saving, and left. She didn't care where she was going. She just needed to get away. By the time she reached Unena and Chika's apartment, she was shaking. When they opened the door, she burst into tears. Unena pulled her inside. "I told you," she whispered. "I told you to be careful." Ada could only cry harder. Chika sighed. "So what now? You can't keep running forever." Ada wiped her tears, her voice firm. "I want to walk." A slow smile spread across Chika's face. "Now you are ready." The night Ada finally agreed to walk was the night she officially left behind the last bits of the decent girl inside her. Unena and Chika wasted no time in preparing her for the high-end hookup business. This wasn't just about sleeping with random men. It was a calculated game of power, money, and social status. "You are beautiful," Chika told her as she adjusted Ada's tight red dress in front of the mirror. "That alone will make men throw money at you. But if you want to be in high demand, you need confidence." Unena added, "Men like class. You are not just a street girl, Ada. You are luxury." They took her to an exclusive lounge that night, one where only the richest men in Lagos played. Ada's heart pounded as they walked in. She wasn't used to the heavy scent of expensive perfume, the clinking of crystal glasses, the soft jazz playing in the background. This wasn't like the rowdy clubs she had seen before. This was where the real money was. "Relax," Chika whispered, placing a glass of wine in Ada's hand. "Look around, spot a man who looks like money, and wait for him to notice you." Within minutes, it happened. A man in a tailored black suit with a gold watch peeking from his sleeve locked eyes with her from across the room. He was older, probably in his late 40s, but his presence screamed wealth and power. He walked over, and just like that, Ada's first real night as a Slayqueen began. Ada quickly became the most sought-after girl in the business. She wasn't just beautiful. She had a fresh innocence that made men desperate to have her. Wealthy businessmen, politicians, and even celebrities lined up to spend nights with her, offering outrageous amounts just for her attention. Within weeks, she was making more money than Chika and Unena. She moved into her own serviced apartment in Lekki, bought the latest designer bags, and even started traveling to Dubai and Ghana with clients. Her Instagram became a gallery of luxury, vacations, first-class flights, expensive champagne, and flashy jewelry. Back in her village, people whispered her name in awe. "Ada don her ma." Girls envied her. Men admired her. She had finally become what she once dreamed of. But not everyone was happy about her success. Unena and Chika had been in the business long before Ada arrived. But within months, Ada had surpassed them. She had the richest clients. She was getting all the attention, and jealousy started creeping in. One evening, as they prepared for a night out, Chika's tone was sharp. "You don't even have time for us anymore," she said, applying her makeup. "Now that you're a big girl, you act like you don't know who made you." Ada frowned. "What are you talking about? We are still friends." Nena gave a fake smile. "Are we? Because it seems like you've forgotten who brought you into this life." Ada sighed. "Come on, girls. We are all making money. There's enough for everyone." But the tension was already there. And Ada didn't realize that her friends had already started planning her downfall. Nena and Chika knew they couldn't confront Ada directly. Instead, they planned something worse. They reached out to some of their clients, men with power, men who could drain someone with a snap of their fingers. One of these men was Chief Damian, a notorious politician who hated being rejected. They invited Ada for a high-paying job, telling her the client was a big spender from Abuja. Ada arrived at a 5-star hotel in Victoria Island, feeling powerful. Her name was now known in the Lagos nightlife scene. She wasn't just a slay queen, she was the slay queen. Rich men fought for her time, throwing millions her way. She had built a life of luxury, and she wasn't ready to let go of it. As she stepped into the presidential suite, her heels clinking on the marble floor, she scanned the room. A tall, pot-bellied man in a white agbada sat on a couch, sipping whiskey. Her stomach twisted. She knew this man, Chief Damian, the man she had rejected months ago, the man who didn't take no for an answer. Ada forced a smile, masking her panic. "Good evening, Chief." He smirked, swelling his drink. "Ah, Ada baby, you finally agreed to see me. What changed?" She swallowed hard. "Business, you know." Chief Damian chuckled. "Business? You rejected my money before. Now, you are here." He took a slow sip of his drink. "Who sent you?" Ada's pulse quickened. Something was wrong. Before she could respond, the door swung open. 2 men in black suits stepped in, their expressions cold. "Lock the door," Chief Damian ordered. Panic shot through Ada's veins. "Chief, I don't understand." He leaned forward, his smirk gone. "Did you think you could embarrass me and walk free?" Her breath caught in her throat. This wasn't a hookup. It was payback. The next few hours were a blur of horror. By the time Ada staggered out of the hotel room the next morning, her body ached, her face was swollen, and her mind was shattered. But the worst was yet to come. As she reached for her phone, it wouldn't stop buzzing. Dozens of messages, hundreds of missed calls. Then she saw it, a video, a recording of everything that had happened the night before. Unena and Chika had set her up. They had leaked the video online. Her heart stopped. She opened Instagram, her fingers trembling. Her name was trending. Her face was everywhere. Lagos Slayqueen exposed, caught in hotel scandal with top politician. Comments flooded in. "So this is how these girls make money." Fake life finally caught up with her. Shameless runs girl. Ada gasped for air, her entire world crashing around her. Her reputation was gone. Her life was over. She tried calling Unena and Chika, but got no response. They had abandoned her. She rushed back to her apartment in Lekki, but the security guard stopped her at the gate. "Landlord say make you no enter." One of them said, "You know one scandal for this estate." Her rent had just expired. She had nowhere to go. Within hours, she lost everything. Her home, her money, her so-called friends. The men who once chased after her now pretended they didn't know her. Clients blocked her number. The same social media that once praised her was now tearing her apart. She was finished. For days, Ada wandered the streets, covering her face with a scarf, avoiding anyone who might recognize her. She had no money, no home, no dignity. She finally went back to Unena and Chika's apartment, banging on their door. "Please, open the door. I have nowhere to go," she sobbed. Chika's voice was cold from the other side. "Find somewhere else, Ada. We can't help you." "After everything? You did this to me." Ada screamed, her voice cracking. Nina finally spoke. You were getting too big, Ada, too greedy. This is just business. Ada collapsed to the ground, tears streaming down her face. Her own friends had destroyed her. She had left the village to escape poverty, but now she was worse off than before. She had nothing, no family to run to, no real friends, no future. And for the first time, she realized the ugly truth. The hookup lifestyle wasn't a dream. It was a ticking time bomb, and hers had just exploded. Ada sat on the cold pavement outside Unina and Chika's apartment, her body weak, her heart shattered. The city she once dreamed of had chewed her up and spat her out. He thought about calling Richard, but she knew better. He would never take her back after the scandal. She thought about going back to the village, but how could she? What would she tell her mother? That she had failed? That she had sold herself for fake luxury, only to end up with nothing? She wiped her tears, staring at the dark sky. Where do I go from here? For the first time since arriving in Lagos, Ada had no answer. With no money, no home, and no friends, Ada wandered the streets of Lagos. She spent nights sleeping at bus stops, using her handbag as a pillow. She begged for food at roadside kiosks, accepting whatever scraps she could get. The same people who once admired her now looked at her with disgust. Is this not that Ada babe? See how she don't suffer. Oh. She was from a big girl before, now look at her. The whispers followed her everywhere. One night, as she sat outside a clothes shop, a man approached her. Ada. She looked up, her heart skipping a beat. It was Emeka, a guy from her village who had moved to Lagos years ago. He gasped when he saw her. What happened to you? Ada opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Emeka sighed and removed his jacket, handing it to her. Come, let's find you something to eat. For the first time in weeks, someone showed her kindness. With Emeka's help, Ada was able to clean herself up. He let her stay at a small apartment in Ajegunle, while she figured out her next step. Life in Lagos is not easy, Emeka told her one night, but you have to hustle the right way. Fake life will only destroy you. Ada nodded, her heart heavy with regret. She had chased luxury, thinking it would bring her happiness, but in the end, it had only brought her pain. One afternoon, as she stared at herself in the mirror, she finally saw the truth. The wigs, the makeup, the designer clothes, it had all been a mask. She had lost herself trying to be someone she was not, and now it was time to start over. Ada knew she could never return to her old life. She decided to leave Lagos. With Emeka's help, she gathered enough money for transport and returned to her village. Her mother gasped when she saw her. Ada, my daughter. Ada fell to her knees, sobbing. Mama, I failed. Her mother hugged her tightly. No, my child, you survived. Ada spent the next few months rebuilding her life. She started a small business selling food in the market, determined to make an honest living. The villagers whispered about her return, but she no longer cared. She had learned the hard way. Fake life would never bring true happiness. True success was built on honesty, hard work, and self-respect. And this time, she was ready to live the right way. One evening, as Ada sat outside, watching the sunset, a young village girl approached her. Sister Ada, I want to go to Lagos too. The girl said, excitement in her eyes. I want to live like the Slayqueens. Ada smiled sadly. She saw her younger self in the girl. She placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Lagos is not what you think, my dear. Let me tell you a story. As she began to speak, Ada knew that her experience had not been in vain. She had lost everything, but she had gained wisdom. And if she could stop even one girl from making the same mistake she did, then maybe, just maybe, her suffering had a purpose. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you love this, you'll love the next one. Click to watch it now. Goodbye.